Yo, when you click like, it helps me help my daughter.
Hey Nick, bought a starter home in 2013 for $105K in Texas. Plan to pay it off the loan next year, move to a larger home and rent out the old one. Wife thinks the best homes will be sold and real estate values will rise and price us out. What do you think?
If you can rent out the old one, if you're in a market where you can rent out the old one and keep them, I wish I kept everything I ever owned. You're gonna have to front the down payment and the foot for the new one, but if you guys can move slowly and you can slug it over 4 or 5 years and you can just like add your income and buy another house and keep renting them out, I mean, that's just a hidden 401k that'll cover itself. It's not easy. It's hard to have 2 homes and it does have its back-breaking, like, you know, parts of heating systems break, you know, lighting fixtures, accidents, you know, wind, trees, mowing 2 lawns, plowing 2 driveways, etc. Yada, yada. But if you can deal with that, and you think you have the gusto for it, please go for it. It is the way that you make the most money by just holding on to these goddamn things. I'd be in a lot better place if I kept everything. So that's the dream. You just have to know that you're not gonna be able to do a lot of things. You're really like putting a clamp down on your spending if you're a normal person. Unless you're rich, just go ahead and buy 2. The slow acquisition of good deals on property is kind of like it's just a free $650 to $1,000 to millions of dollars waiting there for you. So have at it.
Any thoughts on buying foreclosures? Yeah,
you're gonna be able to buy them soon. So right now, the past 6 years, you haven't been able to buy foreclosures. When I started doing this, when I bought my third or fourth one, which is like 2009, foreclosures were kind of everywhere. There were 2009, 10, 11, 12. The past 10 years, they've just been immediately getting gobbled up. So foreclosures were almost like a happenstance. So if anybody got behind in their mortgage, there was like avenues where people just gobble them up right away. We're gonna start to see foreclosures dumped. There are delinquencies. People's car payments and repos are going up. The repo rate is double what it was last year. It's up to 5.5%, 6% of repossessions right now, which is bad. That's a sign. That's a telltale sign. People are going to lose their jobs and people are going to foreclose on houses now. When you buy a foreclosed house, I don't know, man. I feel like I feel like foreclosed houses sometimes, very rarely are they the shit that we're talking about. I'll just be real with you.
Mine was a foreclosure.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
But you bought in that time. You bought in that like weird time in a segment.
I got lucky.
You know where I would look for foreclosures in an area that's up and coming for real. I wouldn't look for foreclosures in like the well, first of all, good people pay their bills. Good houses, people pay their bills. Good homes. So it's like a foreclosed piece of shit. So it's got to be real cheap and real downtrodden, and real, you know. Sometimes it don't matter, and it doesn't really make that. It's just a neglected piece of shit. And then we got. But it's fine. It's fine. And you got to jump through a few more hoops. Just a couple.
Hot small town, downtown, no homes under 400K available, no lots under 250K available, except one. A lot that's 18 feet wide.
Yeah.
Also found tiny homes someone built. Lot and home about 120. Do I buy? How do I check tiny home quality?
So tiny home quality, yeah, I mean, talk to the guy who built it. Obviously, the person selling it built it. I kept my eye on a shed that was built on a piece of land. I'm looking at land in Maine. I found a couple of pieces of land for 40, 50, 60, 70 grand. And then I was planning on maybe putting an A-frame on it. That's why Kevin was here. And that's kind of my plan right now. I'm gonna go look at the lots and see that. Now what I did was I kept my eye on a shed that basically a mountain bike guy did the same damn thing. It was a fucking shed on a piece of land. And it sold for $130,000. Someone who just wants a place to land, perhaps someone who's single, or maybe a couple or something like that, a thin, small couple who wants to live in a shed. And so I think you can probably buy the land. Go to the city and see if there's any vacant lots that haven't paid any taxes. That's a decent way to find and lots like that are all locked up. You can find a really rough lot because you can build a tiny home on anything. You know what I mean? You can make it almost portable. So if you want to do that route, go to the town and see if there's any tax sales. And then if you still can't find them, go on Craigslist and type the word wholesale in. But you have to find a local wholesaler, like usually the town tax lawyer. That's a tip. If you guys really just want to find the cheapest lot in the town you're in, and it's kind of a podunk town, go to your local title attorney. Title attorneys kind of have to write titles on these things from investors, so they kind of have their eye on everything. Those guys are like a source of information. Sometimes they're pricks, so just keep that in mind.
18-foot lot?
Yeah, just a skinny lot. Okay. It's a skinny lot that was cut off years ago, like an old mill lot. Okay. Someone got left with the raw deal. Sometimes people put tiny homes on them. City of Providence has that happen all the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a decent way when you're in like an overpopulated and lots are so expensive. For all of you people who think about putting tiny homes up, because I get that a lot, I'm actually shocked at how much people ask about like tiny homes or putting small cabins on pieces of land. Go live in one first, please. Go stay in one for one night, because I did, and I hated it.
Any advice or gotchas on pros and cons of building versus buying? I have a 6-digit savings cushion, 800 credit, and not in a rush at all. It would be my first move into owning real estate. Is it worth the stress to build new in today's market, or would I come out ahead?
Depends on where you are. The thing about like having like you work pretty hard to get yourself a nice stack of a couple of $100 grand. It's hard to save money. So kudos to you for doing that. A lot of people ask me that, like build versus buy. If it's your first time in real estate, I'll put it to you like this. If there's a house with a good septic, electrical tie-in, a foundation, and some walls already up that you can cut the shit out of it and then reframe the whole thing, you're better off doing that than starting completely new. Because of the septic tank, which is total cash, that's $30,000 right after. Say you have let's just say you have $100,000 saved up and you want to buy land. First of all, getting a construction loan is pretty hairy. You have to own the land. Say you find a lot for 100 grand, bang, you're down to $0. Say you have 200 grand, you buy a lot for 100 grand, bang, you're down to $100,000. All right. A bank will give you a loan, but you're gonna have to show that you basically have more than 30 to 50% of the money ready to go from soup to nuts. So buying a house that you can slam out, rip down, and start over is a little bit easier than building from complete scratch. Now, what would you be looking for? The most financeable house with the coolest land. A lot of the times the older houses were built by, they were surveyed on older land when guys really know how to survey land. They put them in better spots in the town where farming and agriculture was better, the water, the wind, and whatnot was better. So just start to sharpen your eye on a nice piece of land or a nicer region, and then start looking that way. Buying and rehabbing is way easier, is 3 times easier than building. Building new will crush a really big savings account. I've watched it happen over and over and over again. So keep that in mind.
I have a bank and a private lender who can do 100% financing. Leasers all have long-term leases. Thanks, man.
Do they cover? How much over do they cover on 100 grand? How much over do they cover you? Like, are you owning a weird building? And honestly, them offering add backs for stuff you don't want to take on, meaning you have a bank that'll finance your improvements. So this is going back to that multi-unit commercial. You have a bank that's willing to finance you 100% for rehabs on that. Basically, that's a predator waiting in the wings for you to fuck up, if you think about that. Of course they'll give you the money for that, because then they can lien your property and when you can't pay them back. So say you were like, I'm going to put an expansion on the top roof, and then I'm going to put like a pretty decent percentage, let's just say $1 million on like a local credit unions, I'll finance you for that, no big deal. And then you fuck up and then you can't pay them back. They end up like taking you over and getting first position on the loan. So basically they're waiting for you to fuck up by offering. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be way off. You tell me. I don't know. What do I know? I'm John Stupid. Me and my Uncle Mark Stupid. You saw his house? Great people. Irene Stupid, my aunt. She used to make chips, bacon, egg, and chips in the morning. Best asparagus pancakes.
That's not a thing, is it?
No. It's just something. It's an old John Stupid tradition. Stupid family tradition.